Welcome back. It's your host, Christopher Weddick of the Shift the World podcast. I'm here in beautiful El Salvador with Will Lehr of Club Cocal. Will, welcome to the show.
Thank you, brother. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. So tell us about your journey to El Salvador and how you're liking it here.
Oh, man. Well, it all started a couple years ago. I got a phone call. We have to go to El Salvador. It's, the president made Bitcoin legal tender. He's libertarian-minded. We've got to go check it out. And having traveled Mexico, Central America, Costa Rica, owning property there, watching those markets develop over the last 25 years. When I first set foot in El Salvador, I was blown away. 2 years ago, a little over 2 years ago, it felt like Costa Rica 25 years ago, only different. But with this really unique influx of freedom-minded capital and heart capital coming to the country. So, man, I've been blown away. It's been a wild ride for 2 years trying to stay up on this wave,
Yeah, 100%.
But it's incredible, and it's I call this place it's the Mecca for freedom lovers.
Yeah.
For freedom lovers, libertarians, silver stackers, Bitcoiners, this is your Mecca. You have to. Take a trip here. Mm-hmm. You owe it to get your feet in that volcanic black sand.
Yep.
And experience a waterfall. It's magical here. So yeah, I'm stoked to be here.
Incredible. Well, it's very amazing being surrounded by such like-minded people here in El Salvador, people within the community, freedom community, Bitcoin community, community of those that want sovereignty, health, and an abundant life. And that's what we get to enjoy here in beautiful El Salvador. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on kind of what caused the shift for you to come here. Was it the woke nonsense in the West? Was it the pandemic? Tell me a bit more.
Yeah, so I was, at the time, a couple years past COVID, I was kind of in that, post-COVID depression where I'd watched and continue on a daily basis watching humanity just get pulverized. So that put me in this just kind of, depressive state for a few years post-COVID. And then I came here because of Bitcoin, and Elizabeth Warren was talking about, putting Bitcoiners behind bars. So it was a natural sort of progression to come check it out and see what was happening. And instantly, I mean, it hit me instantly.
Instantly.
Yeah. And I still live in Texas. I'm about 50-50 back and forth. I'm back and forth every month. I think I've flown 25 times in the last 2 years, San Salvador to Houston. And it's a really interesting sort of juxtaposition to live between the two realms. Even though I live in small town Texas, it's pretty isolated, insulated from all the nonsense. But there's still this general, feeling of like, what's next? There's this uncertainty. There's definitely a heavy uncertainty among the people. And maybe like a fear too, like where is this headed? And they may not know that it's a fear yet, but I think in a lot of ways it is. And then you come here, and since I've been here the last 2.5 weeks, we had a war break out in Iran, Israel, and nobody would have even known it here.
No.
Yeah,
most people here run away from the news, and so that's the word Iran. They ran away from the news, and they're just enjoying life because there isn't that huge emphasis on politics, especially in a country like this where a lot of people are really, the minimum wage is not the highest. People are working, they're focusing on their families. They don't have time to focus on a lot of the nonsense. But when you're in the West, everyone has so much time on their hands to focus on all the nonsense, and after a while it gets a bit depressing, so you got to get out.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and the overall feeling of capitalism here, you know, because this country was plagued by 30 years of violence and chaos, and the pendulum has just peaked and is now starting to go the other way. And, you know, because of that, you have a newly liberated society of people here that are experiencing freedom for the first time. People our age, people in their 40s and below, have never experienced freedom. They were locked down. I mean, there's a saying here that gringos, travelers, know the country better than the locals, and it's a fact. Because we've come here, we rent the car, we go travel around, we stay in the mountains, we go hike the waterfalls, you know, do the gringo stuff. And the locals are looking around like, it's okay, I can leave my house now? I mean, my old caretaker at my place down at the beach, she was like panicked about us leaving the door open to the beach in a sleepy little beach town. It's like, so yeah, there's the whole, they say the whole country has PTSD, but there is a tremendous revolutionary spirit here, all the way down to the working class, right? People know something big has happened and is happening here, and it's freedom, it's sovereignty, it's the bursting of those shackles that they've been under for their lifetime. And so that equates to a lot of anomalies in this country. Number one, I've never been anywhere where I've been treated so well. You know, we're often, and especially in some of the small.
In times of global instability, soaring inflation, and massive debt, gold and silver have proven to be unshakable pillars of wealth. New World Precious Metals, based in Calgary, Canada, is a leading international brokerage. We offer an easy, secure, and cost-effective platform for investing in gold and silver, including our international wholesale program and registered retirement savings accounts. Protect your money outside traditional banking with our physical precious metals, privately vaulted outside the banking system, at secure, insured exchanges worldwide. Gold and silver have been trusted assets for generations, with current projections indicating high returns. And with unprecedented demand from governments, banks, and investors, there are now shortages. Precious metals thrive during inflation, geopolitical instability, and currency devaluation. Sound familiar? Now is the time to invest in gold and silver, whether in your international investment account or by transferring registered retirement savings accounts. Experience the security of physical precious metals, combining the safety of physical assets with the flexibility of being like your own bank, offering instant liquidity and a financed line of credit. With precious metals on the rise, don't miss this generational opportunity to protect your wealth. At New World Precious Metals, we ensure your wealth meets its potential. Contact us today, and our personal brokers will guide you every step of the way.
I mean, little kids will stop in the street and stare like they've never seen a grain, like you walked off the boat, the Spaniard coming off the boat. But with that, you know, awe, again, these people were locked down by violence. They've never seen gringos. And now they're, you know, gringos, foreigners, wealthy people are coming from other countries and spending money. And so it's very refreshing. We're very warmly welcomed at the airport, by the customs, by the police, by the local, you know, it's a great feeling, right? And it's definitely a modern day, once in a lifetime opportunity, an anomaly across a whole bunch of different industries and sectors. You know, for me being a real estate person, alternative asset, you know, consultant, but with a real estate background and ink for real estate, I came here and was like, and still, I'm like, this has got this. The anomaly of El Salvador, the 30 years of violence and corruption and chaos, to now becoming the Mecca for libertarians, like a freedom lovers oasis, and happening that fast, has created huge economic opportunities, right?
Yeah.
And real estate's just one of them, where you've got a bunch of landowners who are cousins and cousins and distant cousins of the elite families here who were gifted land 150 years, 100 years ago, 50 years ago, whatever. Often the titles are all complex and have to be, but these people, for the most part, were gifted the land or bought it for pennies or a bushel of, you know, commodity, corn. And now they don't really even know what Bitcoin is, right? They don't see the big visionary picture like those of us that come here that see it. And so they're willing to part with their land on what to them is a tremendously life-changing amount of capital. But those of us that are looking at this as the next Costa Rica, knowing these prices are very, great deals.
Yeah.
So there's that, you have the big websites here with what we call the gringo prices. And then you have these boots on the ground, seller direct kind of negotiated land deals that pop up. But it's a mind-blowing arbitrage opportunity.
Yeah.
Just in real estate, and I see it when I bring friends and clients down, whatever their specialization is, whatever industry they work in, they go, oh my gosh, you guys need this here. One of my buddies who does construction and solar, and he's electric, he's like, spray foam insulation. I'm complaining, down at the beach, it's hot. It's not like up here in the mountains. He's like, dude, we could bring all the materials down in containers. Labor's cheap. We train a couple guys how to do it. You spray foam. I would pay for it right now. It would reduce my electric bill. It'd pay for itself in a year or 2 or 3.
Yeah.
No brainer.
100%. Well, El Salvador truly is the land of milk and honey, and it is the savior for a reason. El Salvador, the savior. So there is that golden opportunity here. I think because of the situation El Salvador went through with the violence and the crime, they've now endured this liberation, this freedom, this opening up, this golden age. And it's truly remarkable to watch and be a part of. And unlike the sentiment in the West, where people are truly depressed, sad, don't know what to do with their life, hopeless, here's a land of hope. People walk around with the spirit of hope here.
Yeah.
A positivity, a wanting to be of service, wanting to meet new people, wanting to meet expats, foreigners, tourists. It's this spark. There's a spark and this flame that's growing beautifully. That I have, yeah.
Spark of freedom, man.
Spark of freedom.
Spark of liberty.
It's the spark
and
of liberty.
it's crazy to watch it ignite these people.
Yeah.
Like my previous caretaker who and she's starting to flower a little bit, like, oh my gosh, I can actually take a breath.
Yeah.
And maybe she was one of the most traumatized, but it's just the spirit of entrepreneurial freedom, capital, like people say hello to you on the street.
Yeah.
People say buen provecho, strangers when you're eating,
I know.
It's refreshing, man.
It's super refreshing, yeah. People a la orden at your service, bon provecho, enjoy your meal. It's this dynamic that's, beautiful, and it's human. It's the way we ought to be, but because of, I think, the way people have been beaten down in the West, they don't have that spark anymore.
Yeah.
They've lost it. And so it's truly refreshing. So tell us more about Club Cocal and what you're doing in the real estate market here, and how your clients are liking it. I'd love to learn more.
Yeah, man. So I stumbled upon El Zonte Bitcoin Beach. I landed at the airport in April 2 years ago. I took the cab to El Zonte Bitcoin Beach, and that was my first discovery of the country. And it hit me at that moment, holy cow, this is Costa Rica 20 years ago. And not only that, the freedom, the feeling of freedom here hit me. Like, this is the Mecca. This is becoming the Mecca. And I've been talking on the phone and handling clients and consulting people for 15 years on Bitcoin and precious metals. Like, these are all like-minded people. We do self-directed IRAs, people that want to get their money out of the system and invest in Bitcoin and gold and silver and real estate. So these are the people I've been talking to over the years. And that's given me a lot of sort of insight into our community of red-pilled, whatever you want to call us, right? I mean, we all overlap on probably 95% of topics, But I've been deep in this community, intimately in a lot of cases with a lot of people. And as soon as I saw it, I said, oh my gosh, our people are going to love this place.
Yeah.
Like, there's a recurring theme with people that I've talked to over the years. Then they say, oh my gosh, Will, it's so nice to talk to you on the phone and have these conversations about all this whatever, woke stuff or just the government or the inflation or this or that. It's so refreshing because I feel like I'm on an island out here. You know, I can talk to my husband about it a little bit, but he's a little closed off. My kids think I'm crazy. My sister thinks I'm crazy. Everybody thinks I'm crazy, but I talk to you and it's really refreshing.
Yeah.
And these people are scattered about, and you know who, you know who you are.
You know who you are.
Yeah. And they're scattered all over the freaking Western world, man. And what's incredible about this place is this communion, this coming together of expats in this country, the ones that live here full time, like you guys, the ones like myself that are in and out, trying to build a business and a company and a team and a family until I can be here full time. The ones that are just visiting for the first time or coming back, you know. There's this constant kind of culmination of these people and these, you know, at Club Cocal, we have a beachfront, you know, paradise, you know, we call it. It's our real estate headquarters. We have fun, we entertain clients, we throw parties. We have these conversations. We sit around and have coffees or beers or whatever, both, and we talk about this stuff, and people get to experience, it feels like you're at a conference. You go to a really cool conference, a Bitcoin conference, a libertarian conference, an Acapulco, whatever, and you feel this collection, this coming together, this high concentration of like-minded people, and we can have these conversations. And here it's like that 24/7. It's like a full-time. So yeah, we've been steadily bringing clients down, like-minded liberty lovers, as well as working on our local boots on the ground Salvadoran real estate contacts to find the good product, the good inventory. But mostly, yeah, we bring people down, we plug them into the community, we have fun, you know, if you want to go, we can plug you into all of it. This country has everything, from beaches and cliffs and bays and boating and waterfalls, mountains, geysers, hot springs, volcanoes. I mean, you know, the list goes on. The only thing we don't really have are deserts and snow and ice.
Yeah.
You know?
It's a luscious country, you know, full of life and love and positivity. I've been in awe over the past little bit, you know, experiencing it, and also the consistently beautiful weather. It's really great. Like right now, I believe the temperature is like 25 degrees, something along that, and it's consistently like this.
And you could drive 30 minutes to my house, and it's 29 degrees.
Yeah.
Hot at the beach this time. Well, with the cloud coverage. Or you could drive 30 minutes the other direction.
Yeah.
And get up Boca Raton, and you could be at 5,000-6,000 feet elevation. It's probably 19 degrees.
I know. It's
right?
so nice. It's so nice. So coming back to, you know, shifting here, spending more time here, the reason I left Canada is because Canada is going through the 4 stages of ideological subversion process, and it's becoming communist from within. Most countries don't just become communist overnight. They either get subverted, and it's normally a long process where they make the population want communism. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on kind of what you've been experiencing in the U.S., because I know our audience is probably feeling the same thing.
On that note, I would have to say that COVID. So I've lived in a lot of different places in the U.S. And I studied abroad in Latin countries a couple times too. But I've lived in a lot of different markets in the U.S. just for whatever reason. It wasn't military. People ask me, "Were you a military brat?" No, I just, you know, real estate projects led me to this one, that one, the other one. I don't know. I lived in all these different spots. I was living in San Diego, California when COVID hit, and as a staunch libertarian, it was probably one of the worst places. Well, it was a really bad place to be. I mean, it wasn't as bad as some of the stuff we saw in you know, Australia and some of these other places where people were ripped from families and whatnot. I'm sure it happened in San Diego and SoCal, but it was like the militarization of all of the people in middle school that were picked on.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I had old ladies yell at me in the grocery store, "Pull your mask up over your nose," you know.
Yeah.
hands are full of groceries. I got my 3-year-old daughter and this lady, you're not standing on the X. But what tripped me out, so I got the hell out of San Diego quickly. We were only there for about 6 years. Moved back to Texas about a year into COVID. It took us about a year to get everything and get the hell out. We left in like February of 21, I think it was. And SoCal at the time was still deep in communist COVID crap. And as soon as we crossed the border into Arizona, dude, it was as if you'd walked into another friggin' realm, bro.
I know.
Like, I remember coming up on a gas station and they're like, masks and guns optional.
Yeah.
Imagine optional.
Yeah.
You can wear your mask if you want. Hell, you can carry your gun in if you want, you know? Yeah. But experience.
Yeah.
So my wife, my family and I, for about we were like, let's take a 6-9 month, RV road trip. We'll go back to Texas. We'll see family. We'll go to North Carolina, South Carolina, see family. We'll do, and we'll find out where we want to settle in. And we were thinking either Texas or maybe Carolinas, And so we got to travel a lot through that 2021, let's just say, year through the U.S. and the different pockets. And this was, like we went to Asheville, North Carolina. I've got family in the Carolinas, and Asheville's cool. It's progressive. They've got all the cool stuff. Unfortunately, it's also woke as hell. We show up there like after San Diego was already loosening restrictions and stuff, and maybe there was a new wave or something, and Asheville was like worse than California. Mm-hmm. But you'd pass through all these different pockets, Tennessee, of course the rural areas and the Republican areas, the conservative areas were like basically nothing changed. I mean, I got back to small town Texas and people were like, man, I never wore a damn mask once. I'd go into the H-E-B, the grocery store, and they'd try to hand me one. Oh, that shit. Texans are just, liberties baked into the fabric of their blood, right? Mm-hmm. If the woke communism, and that's why I feel somewhat safe still hanging my hat there. But, just during COVID, the Texas discussions of secession came back on the table. So, but it was a real interesting dichotomy of like consciousness traveling through all these different pockets during this psycho, insane, manipulative period. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think the U.S. is really fragmented, man. You've got these liberal areas that have lost their minds. They're begging for communism, and then you've got rural areas, and I don't care if you're in the bluest state in the country. You can go into a rural area and pick one, Massachusetts, I don't know, California. California's got a lot of rural areas. You get to the rurals, man, it's all gun-toting, liberty-loving, truck-driving, Bible-beating,
Yeah, exactly.
They're not putting up with shit. But, what makes me a little reserved is the Civil War potential, right? You've got so many people with guns that could be easily led into a false flag of attacking whatever, and then it's like, where does that lead, right? Yeah. So I don't know, but I think you'd have a lot of areas that would just separate, and they would. Texas, I can imagine, bringing in National Guard, securing its borders, securing its, locking down its cities, which would get chaotic as hell. And the cowboys and the ranchers would just continue life as normal.
Yeah.
Here, no question.
No question.
No question.
Pina colada on the beach, baby.
Yeah, man. And this land is so abundant. I know you have a large Canadian audience. I have a lot. We were talking about this the other day. I think there's a very high concentration of red-pilled people in Canada. Yeah. Because of my 15 years of, network and family and friends, of my closest circle of liberty-loving homeboys, probably 5 or 6, half of them, half of the dozen or 15 or 20 of it, a good chunk of them are in Canada. But I know I've had a few clients come down here from Canada, from colder climates, from Colorado, and the heat at the beach, sets in. And I'm like, if you're not a heat person, the latitude, the high elevation latitudinal regions of the Earth have the best weather on the planet. We used to say San Diego weather was the best. No, this is far superior. I mean, you pick the right elevation here, and you can have, 65 to 75 degree temperature, 365, without any fluctuations. And fruits, and abundance. I mean, I've eaten fruits this last week that I didn't even know existed.
Yep.
Mamey, and a water apple, which is like a cashew family, but it's
Wow.
Oh, bro, it was amazing, dude.
Yeah.
I actually took the seed, and I'm trying to get one growing at the beach house.
Oh, beauty.
Probably half, if not more, of the properties that we tour here have water springs, a river running through them. I mean, this freaks guys like us out. Like,
What?
I could get a property for, an affordable price with acreage, river, a water spring, dozens, if not hundreds of fruit trees. It's mind-blowing. And here they just, oh yeah, there's a mango, and we're like, oh my gosh. We were closing on a property, and the seller's like, oh yeah, and by the way, there's a water spring up by the back cliff, and we're like, I'm sorry, what? And here it's like, oh yeah, there's a water spring over there. They're so used to the abundance.
Yeah.
It's what they're used to. And for those of us that live in places where it's not abundant, we struggle to grow this or that, or maybe we're blessed with one fruit tree or peaches or apples, but man, down here, it's frickin'.
Yeah, it's thriving, it's alive,
There's a saying here, El Salvador's soil is so fertile, if you spit on the ground, it'll grow a baby. So careful out there.
That's crazy. So how's it been? Have you noticed a bunch of your friends and clients are wanting to learn more, wanting to come down, they're coming down? What's that been like?
We do, again, I'm kind of like targeting like-minded community. So once people find out about us, reach out, explore the options, talk to us, watch a couple videos about El Salvador, us, other friends, whatever. I had a recent client tell me, Will, I came down here. She came down and bought a property in the second, third day she was here. She said, Will, I came down here and I was ready. I had my checkbook ready. Because if everything you told me was true and resonated, I was ready to buy. And I can't remember if she was looking at that particular property and came down and bought it, or I can't remember. But so a lot of people come down and they fall right in love. I mean, the liberty bug gets you quick if you're aligned. And yeah, we have friends that all walks. I've had one person come down and have a negative experience, and it was a guy who was used to cool weather and came down and stayed at the beach for a week, an older gentleman, and had like his system went. Yeah, he had a heat stroke or whatever, and it threw off his adrenals, and then he had a panic attack, and so he had a bad experience. But that was the only one. I learned from that one. Okay, if you're sensitive to heat, we're gonna put you up at the finca, up right up the mountain there, where it's 60s and 70s, and you come down to the beach for the evenings or whatever. You come down for an hour or two and escape the heat. So. Yeah.
No, but the temperature here is actually not bad at all. It's great. Like, I live in the city, and the city's always just year round, just nice and tranquilo. Tranquilo.
Yeah, the city sits about 3,000 feet. We're a little above it right here, about 3,400 feet of elevation, which is, the temperature drops, Fahrenheit anyway, a good 5 to 10 degrees from the beach to here. So it's really nice. I'm 25, 30 minutes away. You can blast up, the middle part of the day, kind of noon to 3, 11. To 2 is that hot window. So we say, hey guys, let's go grab some lunch and maybe coffee with Christopher, whatever. You come up to the city, you meet up with a friend, you meet the lawyer, you get some business done, you go to Price Mart, you go shopping, whatever. It's great because of the extreme. Well, first of all, you have this tiny country. Everything's really accessible. The surf. Some of the best surf breaks in the world, and they're not scattered out 10-hour drives. They're all right there. everything's really, you can get off the beaten path and you feel like you're, at Ahuachapan and western side, the little towns on the Ruta de Flores, the western part of the country close to Guatemala, you feel like you've stepped back in time 100 years, and it's 2 hours away, bro.
Yeah.
So the proximity, what I'm getting at, the proximity and the volcanoes, the mountains coming up out of the sea, you have all of these different biosystems, if you will, really close.
Yeah.
So it's convenient.
Yeah. So as a family man, what are your thoughts on, I know your family's in Texas right now, shifting them down here and that sort of idea, discussing that with them, because I know our audience probably is potentially thinking about coming to El Salvador, checking it out, if it's a good option for them in their eyes.
Yeah.
And once they see it for themselves, potentially bringing their family down here. A lot of people in the West are realizing it's collapsing, and through this, they want to figure out a way to, one, get out, two, get in. Where are they going? There's only a few places I know of in the world, after studying it for years. There's El Salvador, there's Paraguay, there's the Dominican Republic, there's Costa Rica, there's Georgia in Europe. There's only a handful of countries that have this sort of libertarian, more freedom-loving mindset and community of like-minded people. But ultimately, yeah, as a family man, tell me more about, your journey navigating the shift with your family.
Yeah.
And yeah.
All those places you just mentioned, El Salvador is safer by probably several multiples.
Yes.
So if we're talking about bringing our family, like this is the safest place in the world. It's kind of mind-blowing. Like we were driving, my buddy and I went to the bank the other day. We're leaving the bank. We're in the car, backing up, pulling out of the parking lot. Somebody comes running after us with a $20 bill that had fallen out of his pocket. Like, so not only is there no crime, I mean, yeah, there's, you're very hard. We don't lock doors. It's kind of crazy. And people look after you and there's like this collective, like I had a buddy who went to a surf break and he had his little cheap cell phone he takes with him and his little wallet with $5 in it and his flip-flops. And he left them in the rocks and he went and paddled out. And he came back, he said, every time I go, no matter where I am, I come back, my stuff's right there, my $5. He's like, well, dude, I went out and I came back and it was gone. And I'm scratching my head and I'm looking around. This guy comes running up to him. Hey, amigo, we have lockers now. We put your stuff in the cubbies because we didn't want it to get swept away by the waves of the Pedros.
Exactly.
So there's this really amazing, this is a Latin country too, so family is like really high on the priority list.
Yeah, it's
Latins.
like family values. The reason, the
like,
core of a strong society is a strong family unit, and these families are strong.
Yeah.
So that's why society here is so strong.
Family's right up there with Jesus.
Yeah, exactly.
From the Latin perspective, they're Catholic. They love Jesus and they love family.
Yeah.
And you don't have any of the woke dynamics that you have in the rest of the West. Like all that crap. Bukele literally a year or two ago stripped all the woke curriculum out of the schools.
Yeah.
Won't allow it, dude. Like there's none of that crap. I mean, I tell some of my local friends here about the stuff going, they're like, what? They literally don't, they're like, what, Yeah. So you have a culture that's family friendly, that embodies and uplifts family values. They take care of old people here, it's a real family-centered culture. But as far as being a gringo and bringing English-speaking kids down here, there's a budding, not only expat community of our friends and expats and Bitcoiners and people that have kids here. There's bilingual schools. You also have a wealthy class of Salvadorans that we're also integrated with and friends with that also have English-speaking kids. That's a big part of what our whole mission is integration between the gringos coming in and the people already here. Because, I've studied abroad in multiple Spanish countries. I speak fluent Spanish, and I've seen gentrification all over U.S. markets, and a lot of we didn't touch on the reverse brain drain yet. So what's happening here is a really unique reverse brain drain where it's the very high concentration of some of the smartest people in the world, brain capital and heart capital and actual capital and entrepreneurial capital.
Yeah,
that
all
are
the best type of capital.
literally all the best type of capital to just make shit go awesome.
Yeah.
Is descending upon this tiny little market
Yeah.
in a pretty massive concentration.
Yeah.
And that's creating, what that's going to create in the coming years blows my mind. I'm already seeing it. We can see, we're dialed in, we see the conversations, we see the partnerships, we see where it's going.
Yeah.
I mean, this will be the country that launches zero-point energy. This will be the country that launches free technologies that have been withheld from the world that we all know exist out there.
Yeah.
This will be the place that does it, right? And we've already know people working on it here. So the family element, you have a lot of Bitcoiners, you have a lot of freedom lovers, you have a lot of people all over the world moving here, realizing the safety. Okay, I can integrate my kids pretty well. We had my family was in town a couple weeks ago, and we had a barbecue pool party with some Bitcoiner friends and with some locals whose kids, my kids are 10 and 15, they brought their kids. So we had like bilingual kids and gringo kids and local kids. And it was this nice little integration of family, like, okay, yes, you can bring a family here, you can integrate. The community's vibrant here, so you can plug right in and have a pretty immediate, circle of friends, and people for your kids and everything else, and kids for the kids. And yeah, my oldest is like hardcore on the basketball path. He plays really high level basketball, so we got to kind of usher him the next few years out of the nest. And my youngest she's more free spirited. She'd be down here in a heartbeat. So yeah, that's kind of my goal. I see this as the place to be, but I can't be here full time yet. So I'm doing everything I can to build it down here, to make me so busy that I have to come down more, which tears me from the kids and I miss them. But it's a quick flight to Houston anyway, till we get that direct flight from Austin. But yeah, I envision in a few years I'll be down here, maybe with my, who knows, man? It depends on what happens in the Western world. If things, decelerate rapidly, I told my wife, I said, can we just agree that if we have another COVID, and I met Murph at Murph's Life the other day, and he literally said the same thing, and I say it all the time. If we have another COVID, and it's not necessarily a pandemic, it could be economic, it could be a lot of different things, but if we have another, looks like a big pause is coming, let's get the hell out and let's go down to El Salvador for 6 months and just let things simmer. She's like, okay, yeah. And Murph said the same thing the other day, what he's doing up at Murph's Life. I mean, the people building here, you guys, it is, Murph's farm, they're bringing in exotic fruits that they're importing them in. He showed me this little blueberry plant, this big, little blueberry plant. He said, that plant here is $40. And he said, so we're going to do with blueberry what we just did with lavender. Lavender was like crazy expensive here for a tiny little bit. They mass produced the hell out of it. They have a vivero nursery where they sell the lavender plants, and they just undercut the entire market. Yeah. They just created a whole supply to bring the price down. And that's what he's going to do with blueberries. Yeah. And all this other, and he's going to do it with a lot of fruit here is expensive. Yeah. And the locals can't afford it. No. Murph wants to change that. Yeah.
And he's giving back to the communities. He's helping empower them, helping build and spark that entrepreneurial spirit, and get the locals, teaching them how to fish.
Exactly.
So that we can build abundance and give back. And I think it's a very fulfilling way of life. Yeah.
Dude, it's so fulfilling. What happened to us recently, so I have a capital partner, a good friend of mine. Excuse me, I stumbled across a too good to be true piece of land a couple months ago. And he was looking down here, we own the beach house together. And he's got his eye on another, wants to do a little wellness center. Buy a little house, make a little wellness center out of it, cold plunges, massage, maybe some cool therapies and stuff. And I called him up and I said, dude, this is too good to be true. If this is real, we got to figure it out. And if it is, we got to buy it. You know? And he was like, okay, and one thing led to another, and he's like, dude, and this is I think of a lot of my friends and clients that are wealthy, that, get to a point in their life where maybe they get bored. I mean, I was there, COVID depression, I was totally there, and El Salvador gave me something to get really excited about and plunge into. And the same with my buddy, he's like, dude, I was gonna do this wellness spa, now we're gonna do a whole wellness community of 21 homes, like with mango trees. And we got connected with a local charity having been red-pilled for a long time, I know about the trafficking.
Yeah.
I know
Child
about
trafficking. Yeah.
what happens in those tunnels. I know about the numbers, and I'm a father. And it's ripped at my gut for a lot of years. And I've never been I can't go out on the front line and wield the sword like my buddy Ryan is doing. But I got hooked up through Ryan with a charity here in town called the House of Life. Bob is the gentleman's name. He's been doing it for 30 years. Expat guy from Oregon, married to a Salvadoran woman. And he's like the grandpa that he rescues and rehabilitates and houses trafficked and troubled teenage pregnant girls. So we're rescuing the girl and the baby. And we got connected and did a fundraiser at our place, and a Bitcoiner buddy said he was touched. He said he was an orphan. He's growing up. He said, I'm going to donate. He's a builder. He said, I'm going to donate a house to your organization. I'm going to build your next house.
Wow.
And then I'm looking around at my partners going, we got a 23-acre chunk of land over here we're about to develop. We're going to donate you a piece of the land.
Yeah.
And let's do a House of Life on our community, where the girls can not only, once they go through their 4-step program and they get rehabilitated, they need housing, they also need jobs.
They need jobs.
And with this gringo entrepreneurial capital coming down here, we're not just going to have opportunities for these girls to like cook and clean pools. We're going to we have 104 fruit trees on our property, none of which are going to be cut. And we're going to create a mango tamarind chutney jamming business with these girls.
Yeah.
Let them have equity. Let them become entrepreneurs. Like, talk about teaching them to fish.
Yeah.
And it's all just come together so beautifully. So that in and of itself, like, wow, okay, we want to integrate, we want to give back. We don't, there's a bad rap for gentrification, and some developers coming down here doing ugly stuff, and it's like, that's not how we roll. And my buddy was funny at the Club Cocal the other night. A couple beers were flowing, a few people were over, and one of our Salvadoran friends kind of started talking smack to one of my partners, one of my guys. Oh, you guys are just trying to get the cheapest land deals and screw over the locals and then make all this money. And he was pretty quickly like, actually, no, there's a natural market arbitrage opportunity taking place here that any like-minded investor or entrepreneur is going to take advantage of. And boy, isn't it a great thing that the like-minded, that the investors taking advantage of this here now are giving back. And we said, look, we're doing 23 acres. Any other developer would have put 200 freaking smashed 300 homes in lots in there. And we're not only are we not cutting a tree, there's going to be 21. Like, it's going to be, we're giving back to the community. We're creating jobs. I mean, just my pool guy, Kevin, from Club Cocal, who's now my little brother. Dude, we helped sponsor him for 3 months. He's a big surfer. We helped him get a big international certification to become a surf coach and learn English and start his own surf school company. Wow. And we let him use our property. He keeps the boards there. Like, the guy, and I just offered him a house, dude. He lives in a shanty, like African level shanty in La Libertad, where a bunch of the locals live. It's shanty city. And I only went in there, I only know gringos never go in there, but my buddy Kevin, he was walking an hour to our place from every day, and so we get him a bicycle, and 2 days later he gets hit by a car on the bicycle. Thank God he's okay. He didn't break anything. He's banged up pretty good, but we went and got him meds and dropped him off to his girlfriend's house where he's living. And I told my team, I was like, guys, brace yourself. I had a feeling we're walking into, because he told me her house doesn't have papeles. Like I knew it was squatter country. Dude, it was. So that inspired me to say, Kevin, let's renovate my tool room and we're building a shed. We're putting the tools in there. It's already got a little bathroom. We'll renovate that and you can live here. You know, I want you to live here. And I'm going to put an AC unit in there for you, and I'm not going to charge you. We're going to keep our salaried deal for you to watch my pool and cut my grass. And we're also going to hire your girlfriend because we love her too now. We want her here 3 days a week cleaning, and she can move in too.
Yeah.
So it's like, dude, Kevin would jump in front of a truck for me, you know? And that's like, we're building family down here. And with what we need to create down here, I need local connections that I can depend on like family.
Yeah.
You know? And so it's happening. I mean, what's happening here is so divine, and to experience it, like doors opening, people coming together, you know.
We're in flow. God's divine flow of abundance is entering our lives.
Yes, and using us.
Using us.
Totally using us to build here.
Yeah.
To create here.
Create. 'Cause, yeah.
And I think to bridge the gap between those freedom lovers that are on an island all over the world and to bring them to the Mecca. I say, the 30 years of chaos and hell that these local people went through, this liberation and what's happening here in El Salvador right now is obviously a gift to them, but it's a huge gift to us, to this heart capital, to these liberty lovers. It's a huge gift to us, man. Come down here and experience it. If you feel aligned, plant your flag, and it'll be one of the best things you've ever done. I mean, Bitcoiners cling to their Bitcoin. I bought my beach house with Bitcoin 2.5 years ago. It's almost kept pace. Bitcoin's outperformed it. You know, it was like 25, 28K Bitcoin when I bought the place. The place has tripled. Bitcoin's outperformed it, but I've also leveraged that as a place to build a business off of, and a community, and a brand, and relationships and networks that are invaluable. Not to mention my Bitcoin doesn't drop coconuts and mangoes, and I can't surf on my Bitcoin, you know.
No, yeah.
So it's all these lifestyle things and just ways to, this hit me the other day. Okay, let's fast forward 5 years, and even Bitcoin's at some outrageous number. Well, we built a brand and a company and relationships and family and all this other stuff. So there's other types of wealth in your life that we have to acknowledge. And I think El Salvador is an opportunity for you to put some of your monetary wealth to play to create and open up many other types of wealth and abundance for you.
Yeah, exactly. It's about living that all-rounded wealthy lifestyle, and that comes in various shapes and sizes, not just financial. And it comes down to health, it comes down to community, it comes down to family, it comes down to food, it comes down to lifestyle, experience, being one with nature, everything. It's all a well-rounded life, you know, the wheel of life.
Yep.
So.
And here, I feel like coming here, spending time here, reteaches us that.
Yeah, it reteaches us to be human again.
We've forgotten that.
We've forgotten that, yeah.
And you come here, man, and it sinks you right back in.
Calm unity. And that's community. Calm unity.
Ah, beautiful.
Yeah. And that's what we need.
Yeah, man.
That's what we need. So for our viewers, we hope that it provides some good insight into why potentially consider shift to El Salvador, and the insight into the quality of life here, and just getting away from the nonsense, getting back into our roots, building connections, having authentic conversations, feeling free and divinely free, one with the environment, and no country's perfect, but this is, I think, as good as it is going to get. Yeah.
I couldn't agree more, man.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree. I wouldn't be here if I didn't agree.
Yeah, 100%. So, Will, I just want to say thank you for coming on the Shift the World podcast, and I'd love for you to tell our audience more about how they can get in contact, find you, and learn more about what you're up to.
Yeah. Club, CLUB, Cocal, C-O-C-A-L. Clubcocal.com. You can contact us there. You can call the phone number there. That'll get through to me sometimes. Yeah, let us know if you're feeling the itch to come down. We'll plug you in with, whatever, where you want to stay. You want elevation, you want the city, do you want the beaches, you want all the above. Okay, you need a couple days here, a couple days there, but we're happy. We're happy to take care of people, plug you in, and if you stumble upon Club Cocal for a cold beer or hot coffee and buy a piece of property, then hey, it all works out great. So, and if not, that's great too.
100%. Thank you, Will, for coming on.
Thanks for having me, brother.
Thank you.